It's time. Time to pick every spread and every total for week 11 of the NFL season. Welcome, football fans, grid, iron, gamblers, and every one of you degenerates. It's Mitch here with my week 11 picks. Every game, every matchup, we break it down. I give you my over-under picks. I give you my spread picks for every single game. If that sounds good, Gronk, spike the like button. And don't be a jabroni. Subscribe to the channel, man, for all of my NFL picks and bets here on Money Mitch. It's time to make some money. And a good way to make some money this week, we have a little promotion going on. Thursday Night Football. I'll be live on the Bottom Line View, my original channel. If you're unaware, you're like, I've never heard of you on the Bottom Line View. I only know you as Money Mitch. Well, that's pretty awesome because this is my second channel. This is my new channel. So if you're one of those people, comment below. I'd actually love to know. But we have a big promotion going on for Thursday Night Football. Patriots and Jets, as always. Patriots games every week. We're doing a little fantasy picks and a contest where if you just submit $1 into the contest, you have a chance to win $5,000. Yeah, that's right. $1 to win $5,000. So I'm going to show you how it works. Basically, all you have to do is play a little fantasy player prop parlay type deal. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I would pick. I can help you win some money there. And then you can also enter the contest to win $5,000. And we'll be live for the Patriots and the Jets on Thursday Night Football, the Bottom Line View. Okay, let's check it out first before I give you my picks. I promise you the picks are coming. So this is the contest here. All you have to do is you check the link in the description, the pinned comment, and you scroll down to open contests hosted by the Bottom Line View. You press enter competition. Okay, that's all you have to do. And then this screen will pop up. A bunch of picks for you to choose from. And as it says in the top left, make 2 to 6 predictions. The more predictions you make, the more you can win. And guys, you can only enter up to, I think it's $20. But you only have to enter $1 and you have a chance to win $5K. I mean, and in the last couple weeks, there haven't been that many people joining this thing, like around 10. So you have a pretty good chance if you join this thing. I'm hoping for more people, and that's why we're running the contest. But I'm going to go through these picks. So we have Drake May to go for more than 250 passing yards. I think this is a game where Drake May makes an MVP statement. I think the Patriots want to showcase their young quarterback, and this could be the first ever 300-yard passing game for Drake May, especially with no Sauce Gardner, no Quinnen Williams. They also just ruled out one of their other corners, Thomas, I believe, the rookie. So I'm going to say yes. I think Drake May goes crazy on Thursday night. You could go 280 pass plus rush yards. That might actually be a better bet if you want to go with that. That might be better. You could go with that one. Maybe we'll go with that instead of the 250. Mason Taylor will have more than 5 receptions. I'd probably take the no there just because Mason Taylor getting 6 catches in a game, I think is pretty bold. Despite the Patriots, they have struggled against tight ends. They have struggled against guys like Dalton Kincaid and also Cade Otton recently. And Garrett Wilson is out, but 5 catches is a lot. I would lean no on that one. Hunter Henry will have more than blank receiving yards. I don't know if I need to maybe hit the guy up. That's not accurate, so maybe just avoid that one. Drake May will have more than 30 passing attempts. Maybe, maybe not. Depends on what the game state is, but I do think he'll have a lot of yards. Stephon Diggs, incorrectly spelled by my guy, will have more than 60 receiving yards. I would lean yes. Breece Hall will have more than 60 rushing yards. I would lean no. Mac Hollins will have more than 40 receiving yards. With Kayshon Boutte out, I'll say yes. So that's going to be the parlay I'd put together here. Mac Hollins, Breece Hall. We got Drake May and Mason Taylor. So quickly, those are going to be my picks. And then, as you can see at the bottom, $10 pays $200, 20 times your money there. So you view the entry, and you can see at the bottom here, $1 to $20, the amount. I would just put in $1, bro. Just put in $1. You have a chance to win $5K. $1, you can then get a payout of $20. But if you put in $20, then you can win up to $400. And you can flex your entry to where if you flex your entry, then all you need in this case is actually 4 out of the 5. So you can actually have one of them be wrong and still win some money. But if it's $20, I would still just max it out. And, I don't know if you need both of these in your parlay there. Drake May, I guess they might pay out both, so it might be worth it. Drake May for both of them. But, yeah, then you submit your entry. I'm not going to show you my credit card, but I'm going to submit this entry for you guys because I'm trying to win, and you'll see my name in there on the leaderboard. So check that out, guys. Make sure to sign up. Join me, the Bottom Line View, Thursday Night Football, live fantasy picks, $5,000 to a random person. You don't even have to win the entry. It's just to a random person who joins, okay? So just make a little $1 entry if that's all you can afford, or put in $20, whatever you want to do, all right? So let's get to the picks. Just wanted to shout that out for you guys because I think it's pretty cool. A good chance to win $5,000. Okay, so let's get to our picks for week 11. Well, let's begin with the Patriots and the Jets. The total is 43. The Patriots are favored by 13. Now, as I stated in my primetime picks, I lean under. Reason for that, I don't know how many points the Jets will be able to score. My prediction is they'll score somewhere around 10 to 14 points. In that case, the Patriots have to score 30 plus. I do think they can score 30 plus, which is scary. So I probably would not bet the total. I don't think that, because I could see the Patriots scoring 30, 31, 34. It's very possible. And if the Jets just score 13, 14, this might go over. But I do think the under on a Thursday night is a little bit more sound against the Jets, who don't score any points. I'm not sure how much in the fourth quarter the Patriots will really be trying to push the ball downfield and score. But I would say away. I think in terms of the spread, I would still lay 13 with the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to win this game. I think the Patriots are going to crush the Jets. I think the Patriots are going to cover. Some people in my comments, and I see you guys, have been saying, Thursday night's really wacky. Well, actually, I've done probably better on Thursday night than any night this year or any day this year. Like, I feel like Thursday I've been pretty damn accurate. We were accurate about the Raiders nearly beating the Broncos. This week, I think it's going to be the opposite. I think the Patriots are going to crush the team that they should crush because I don't think that the Jets are, in this state, they might be the worst team in the league. Like, they're right there with Tennessee. They got rid of 2 premier players on defense. Quincy Williams is sitting for some absurd reason. Justin Fields is the quarterback, and he just completed, 5 passes for 54 yards against the Cleveland Browns, and 42 of them were to Breece Hall on a screen pass. They don't have Garrett Wilson, who might be their best player. He's out. They don't have any receiving options. Their best receiving option is a guy they just traded for like a week and a half ago, who probably doesn't even know the system. Breece Hall, he's going to have nowhere to run against the best run defense in football. Number 1 in rush yards allowed are the Patriots. They're top 5 in pretty much every rush defense metric. The Patriots are at home. The fans are lit. They're excited. This is a fan base that is reinvigorated because of Drake May and Mike Vrabel, and I think that's going to show on primetime. The Patriots have a spotlight game. They've only had one of them this year, so they're going to treat this like a big spectacle, a coming out party. And I think defensively, there's just no chance the Jets really move the ball. I feel like they can't throw it on anyone, really, other than maybe the Bengals. Patriots do have very good corners. I would not be concerned about their pass defense. I think they give up more yards than, I really think they do have like a top 10 pass defense. I just feel like they give up a lot of yards at times because they're a little bit bend but don't break, but it doesn't really bring points, if that makes sense. But Justin Fields is not that quarterback. He's not the guy that's going to accurately distribute the ball down after down. He's a shot play quarterback. He's a scrambling quarterback. He's a guy that looks at the rush. He's a guy that takes too long to throw the ball. He's a guy that's going to get sacked in this game and may turn it over. And then on the other side, Drake May is humming. Josh McDaniels is humming. The Jets don't have the talent on the outside. I think that Diggs will provide some problems. I think Drake May will continue to execute against the blitz and man coverage, which he's been feasting on all year, which the Jets, that's their main ingredient to their defense. And the run game's been getting better and better. Travion Henderson hit 2 home runs last week. So I just feel like this is a complete mismatch all the way around. I think the Patriots have a coming out party, a Drake May MVP game. And I think they win this game. I think they cover this game. And don't forget, guys, play those fantasy picks. Win some 5K. I'm excited to see who wins that. Let's get to the game in Madrid. That is the Washington Commanders and the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins might be number 1. 47.5 is the total. 2.5 is the Dolphins favored. The wackiness of being in Spain, I think, is going to be interesting for this matchup. It does make me a little bit less inclined to lay the points with the Dolphins and bet this with my true money here. But I do like Miami in this matchup. I also think that the over is probably more likely. Washington has maybe the worst defense in football at this current moment. Dan Quinn is so starved for a defensive stop that he's taking over the defensive play calling and coordinator duties. That's how down bad they are. Their edge rush is absolutely absurdly terrible. Their defensive linemen in the interior are punching people in the face. And when you look at their slow linebackers against a Miami offense that is speed, right? That's what they're all about. They're about the motions. They're about the misdirection. They're about the ball fakes. They're about the smoke and mirrors. They're about all that stuff. Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, 2 of the fastest in the sport against Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu, who are not good unless they're going downhill at their older age. A secondary that wants to play man but really can't. They don't have the speed to play zone because they can't cover the space of the field that it demands. And on offense, they just have no verticality, no vertical threat, no Terry McLaurin. So without him, it doesn't scare anyone. Zach Ertz doesn't have speed. Debo doesn't have speed. He's running in mud. He's running in quicksand. Their run game is now, because no Terry McLaurin, no speed on the outside, everyone's packing the box and taking their run game away. Mariota is not an explosive passer. He's kind of a dink and dunk guy. He can scramble a bit, but I think this Dolphins defense has been playing really well. They've been playing aggressive. They've been playing hard. I love how Jordan Brooks and this young secondary is playing linebacker for Jordan Brooks. Minkah Fitzpatrick at that nickel spot's been playing really well. Some of their younger corners have come to play. Rasul Douglas could be back for this is a primetime kind of game. And this is also a game for the Dolphins where this could be like the Mike McDaniel should keep his job game. If the Dolphins go out there and really perform and look detailed and look ready and look just much more put together than the Commanders, then this could be a game where like Dolphins fans and really the NFL media, because it's a big game on primetime, like everyone's watching this game, even if it's irrelevant. People are going to be like, well, Mike McDaniel should keep his job. And I'm one of those people. I think that Mike McDaniel has been the best thing the Dolphins have done in years. I think that he's a very brilliant offensive coach. I think that he has put together an offense that only really he and maybe his buddy Kyle could for Tua. I don't think Tua is an NFL quarterback. And I think he's made Tua look like a above average passer at times in this league, despite all his limitations. And what he's done with the motions and what he's done with some of these packages and what he's done to kind of evolve offense in the NFL, the run game. So I'm a fan of McDaniel, and even if he's not perfect, I kind of feel like this team is fighting for him to keep his job, and I think that's a big thing. I actually think low-key Dan Quinn could be the one on out. I'm just going to say that. But I look at the Commanders, and I see nothing that I love about them. I think they like to run the ball, and they're decent at it, and Cliff is a good coordinator. But when you really look at what the Dolphins just faced in the Bills, they faced a running quarterback, Josh Allen. They faced a heavy run team with James Cook. They faced a heavy screen team with Khalil Shakir, and all of that was well faced. That was well put together from a Miami standpoint in terms of defense. And I think they can carry that through, that momentum, that energy, that vibe, that vigor, and put together another game-winning script. So I think the Dolphins win this game. I think they're the better team. I think they're playing better football. In terms of injuries, Rasul Douglas is one to watch. Other than that, I don't really think there's anything major. Of course, we know that Jaden Daniels is out. Treylon Burks, who has been playing a little bit for them at wide receiver, has a finger injury, did not participate. Zach Ertz did not participate. I'm not sure if that's rest or not, but that, I guess, is something to pay attention to. But there are not a ton of injuries in this game. If anything, it looks like the Dolphins are getting a bit healthier with Chop Robinson being a full participant, and he might take that spot of Jalen Phillips now that he's gone to Philadelphia. Bradley Chubb still being put there in the front is going to give them a little bit of pass rush. So I like the Dolphins right now. I like how they're playing. I think they're a little bit underrated entering this game. 47.5. I'd lean over just because I think the weakness of both these teams are their defenses, and it's simply put. Okay, next. 37.5. Houston, Tennessee is the total. 6.5 is Houston favored. Now, the thing is with this game, Davis Mills is probably still going to be starting for the Texans because we have not seen CJ Stroud at practice. That being said, there's still time. It's only Wednesday when I'm recording this. There's still time for those decisions to be made. A big factor here is Tennessee is coming off of a bye. Can they get something reinvigorated for this team? I think being that it's in Tennessee, they're off of a bye, they kind of might have that new head coach bounce. I know that he's been coaching them for a couple weeks, but just in terms of them having a full bye to kind of maybe install some different things, for Mike McCoy to put his full stamp on the team, for them to try some different things with Cam Ward or whatever it may be, I think there's possibility that this game could be the Titans coming out and playing hard and playing tough. Arden Key is one of the players that could return to the field this week. He's been out for multiple games. Jeffrey Simmons still has not practiced. Xavier Woods still has not practiced. Kevin Zeitler still has not practiced. Calvin Ridley could be back as well on offense. So Ridley and Key are two to note. It does appear that Simmons is still going to be out, which is, of course, their best player. So that's a factor. I like how the Texans are playing quite a bit. I think the Texans are playing great defensively. To me, they're the best defense in football. To me, their pass rush travels. To me, they should get pressure on Cam Ward. To me, they have great corners on the outside, Lassiter and Stingley, who should be able to stifle these receivers. And they've got a lot of energy in terms of the tackling, the chase and tackle from sideline to sideline from their linebackers. Looking at the injuries here, Jalen Petrie did not play last week, I don't think. He didn't participate earlier this week in practice. Dalton Schultz didn't participate at practice. CJ Stroud still hasn't participated. Titus Howard is a full participant, though, so that's pretty big for the offensive line to get him back. Danico Autry didn't play last week either. He didn't participate in practice, so they're missing a couple key guys. Schultz is pretty key at tight end. Petrie and Autry are, Petrie especially is pretty key. But I look at this game and I have to take the Texans on the spread just because the Titans are almost unbettable. They're to the point where, like, they're an automatic fade. They're an automatic pick against if you're the Titans. But there are things that scare me about this game. I think somebody commented a couple days ago, like, Mitch, why aren't the Texans in the, like, must bets, early best bets section? And part of my reasoning was I don't know who's playing quarterback. And then second is I just, off the bye on the road for Houston, at home for Tennessee, it kind of scares me. So I just want to kind of stay away, especially with Davis Mills. But I like how Woody Marks looks. I love how Nico Collins is playing. I feel like Collins should have another massive game here, especially if Schultz doesn't play. I think the offensive line has improved with every week. I think their play calling has improved with every week. I was impressed with Davis Mills against Jacksonville. The Texans should win and should cover this game, given how good their defense is. But it's hard to trust Davis Mills. It's hard to know what the Titans will be post-bye. I just don't really want to put my money on this one. So I'll take the Texans to cover. I'll take the under 37.5 because I'm just not sure how many points the Titans are going to score here. But this could be another game where the Texans offense surprises us and it could go over. Like maybe the Texans do score 24, 27 points. And the Titans help them out. But I don't know, man. The Titans scoring more than 13 in this game would be pretty surprising. So I'll take Houston, something like 24-13. Something like that. Next, Chicago at Minnesota. I do like the Vikings here, -3. They might be a best bet. The total is 48.5. I want to think about the total. Let's look at the injury report here right now as it stands. Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker, both starting safeties, did not participate in practice. TJ Edwards did not participate, their starting linebacker. Grady Jarrett, one of their defensive linemen, did not participate. DJ Moore and Roma Dunze did not participate. Tyreek Stevenson, one of their starting corners, did not participate. That's a lot of injuries. Now, some of these guys might get cleared on Thursday and Friday, but something to think about. For Minnesota, looks a lot healthier. Jonathan Grenard did not participate. He might be out this week. That's a big loss. He's their best pass rusher, but at least they do have Andrew Van Ginkel, and he will probably be playing. Harrison Smith also limited. I know that he wasn't really practicing last week. Ryan Kelly, their center, also limited. JJ will be the starting quarterback. I like the Vikings here. I think that part of it being that I think the Ravens right now are a little underrated, and the Ravens were able to go into Minnesota and kind of make JJ look bad and make the Vikings look bad and kind of beat them soundly. But I think part of it is the Vikings were able to go to Chicago week 1, beat the Bears in the first game for basically J.J. McCarthy as NFL starting quarterback and found a way to rally in that game. I think when you look at the weaknesses of Chicago, I think a lot of it comes down to Caleb Williams at quarterback, his processing speed, his ability to make quick decisions, his ability to see the field, his ability to be able to diagnose what Brian Flores is showing him. And I think that Brian Flores always fogs up the picture and gives a young quarterback a lot to think about. And I think he's going to give Caleb a headache. I don't know if the Bears are going to be able to run the ball all over the Vikings like they've been able to run the ball against other bad opponents, teams like the Giants, where they've just been able to hand it off and run the ball at will. And they've been playing bad teams. You look at Cincinnati, you look at the Giants. The Vikings are a step up in class if you're the Bears, especially in Minnesota where the crowd is loud. You've got that dome environment on the road. And I think that this Bears defense is just very hard to back. I mean, they have no pass rush. They have no corners. I mean, think about covering Justin Jefferson in this game with their current state of their secondary. Their safeties are beat up, so the communication back there and the ability to, do a lot of creative things in your secondary is just lost without those guys. So there's just too many injuries for the Bears defensively. I think that Flores will find enough ways to get stops against Caleb Williams. As long as they stop the run, the Vikings have a very strong chance of winning this game. And the Vikings, since the bye, have been a lot better against the run, facing the Ravens and the Lions, who are very good at running the ball. So I like the Vikings here, -3 at home to get the sweep on Chicago. In terms of the total, 48.5, that's difficult. One of the problems with the Vikings is the red zone. I feel like the Vikings kind of struggle in the red zone offensively. 48.5 is tough. I want to lean under just because I don't really believe in either of these quarterbacks. And despite Chicago's defense, it's tough, man. I'll probably stay away from the total, but I think that's too high of a number for a J.J. McCarthy-led Vikings team. Maybe Kevin O'Connell can find his way to scheme up against this bad Chicago defense. Ben Johnson can do enough to put it over, but I don't know, man. I don't trust the quarterback play here to give me 50 points in this game. I really don't. So fundamentals there. Next, we've got a 42.5 for the Panthers and the Falcons. Falcons -3.5. I would take the under 42.5. I also like the Panthers with 3 in the hook. We talked about this on early best bets. I think this is a good matchup in the division for the Carolina Panthers. I think they match up better with the Falcons than they do than the Saints, I'm not saying the Falcons won't win this game. They might win this game, but I think 3.5 is too many points, and I'm willing to take those points. You also look at the injury report for the Falcons. It is absolutely very long. They have a ton of players that are not practicing and/or are beat up. Matthew Bergeron, one of their starting guards. Dorless, rotation defensive tackle. Leonard Floyd, rotation defensive end. Jamal Agnew, their their kick returner, Zach Harrison, a good defensive tackle, Chris Lindstrom, their best guard and offensive lineman, Drake London, their best player, maybe, Bijan and him. Who else? Jake Matthews was limited. I mean, a lot of players here. Sam Roberts even is a defensive tackle in rotation. A lot of guys are beat up. For the Panthers, they're looking a little bit better. Now, Rico Dowdle didn't participate, but I'm not too concerned about that. And Trevin Wallace is one of their starting linebackers. He didn't participate. But other than that, they're healthy. So that's a pretty good sign for the Panthers. I think McMillan is fine. Bryce is good. So Panthers are the much healthier team. Panthers have the better record. They're 5-5. Falcons are 3-6. Last time these teams played, it was 30-0 Carolina. And Michael Penix had the worst game of his career against this Panthers defense. The main ingredients for why I like Carolina: run offense and run defense. Carolina can stop the run. They're top 10 in success rate against the run. And overall, as a defense, they're pretty good. And then running the ball, they're a good running team. Rico Dowdle, we've seen what he's been able to do. And the Panthers are basically a story of two halves in terms of what they are as a team. If they can run the ball, they can compete and they can win the game. If they can't run the ball, they're going to lose. That's basically what it is. When you look at Atlanta, they're a very good pass rushing team. They're very good at sacking the quarterback. They're very good in pass defense. They're like number 1 in yards allowed, or at least in the top 3. And as a rush defense, they allowed 240 yards to Jonathan Taylor. Christian McCaffrey had his best rushing game of the year against them. So the Falcons have consistently been giving up yards on the ground, consistently been getting overpowered and beat down from the line of scrimmage vantage point. And that's where I just don't like the Falcons at all. Also, you think about, if the Panthers do have a strength to their defensive line, it is in the interior. And with the Falcons having both of their guards injured, that could also spell disaster for a guy in Michael Penix who needs that interior pocket. Derek Brown could be just destroying him all day long. So I think this is a good matchup for Carolina. I like the 3.5. The total 42.5. I just tend to go under with the Carolina Panthers. I think they're a running football team, a defensive football team. They almost rarely ever put up 200 yards passing. That screams unders. And then the Falcons are a better defensive team right now than they are offensive. Offensively, they're a little challenged. It feels like they're a team that has spurts of greatness and then they just kind of completely fall off. They have been going over the last couple of games, I want to say, but I don't know if it's going to keep up. I feel like it's kind of been fluky the way that they've been going over. And I think Carolina is an under team. So I'm going to go under 42.5. For what it's worth, 30-0 was the last game, and that was clearly under 42.5. So Atlanta might squeeze this one out because they're at home in a divisional game, but I like the Panthers in this matchup for sure. All right, next up, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh -5.5. Total is 48.5. Let's check out the injury report. Joe Burrow has been talking up returning soon, but he's obviously not going to be the quarterback in this game in particular. It's still going to be Joe Flacco. So for the injuries for the Steelers, Cam Hayward did not participate today. Alex Highsmith, the same thing. Broderick Jones, the same thing. Tackle, outside linebacker / edge rusher, and defensive tackle. Darius Slay got injured in that game last week, did not participate. Jonnu Smith, tight end, did not participate. TJ Watt did not participate. Are those all injuries or are those rests? I have to check that for myself. Feel like on Wednesday it's always kind of difficult to know because a lot of teams just give out rest for guys. And then when it comes to the Bengals, I know that Trey Hendrickson won't play this week. Shamar Stewart, he's MIA, but they're pretty healthy besides that. So that's good to know. That's good to know. Let's check that Steelers injury report. But when I think about this game, I kind of think the Steelers are going to win, but I think the Bengals are going to keep it close. That's kind of like fundamentals. So TJ Watt, Jonnu Smith, and Cam Hayward were all rest. Okay. Broderick Jones, legitimate injury, groin injury. Alex Highsmith, legitimate injury, pectoral injury. Darius Slay, concussion, he'll be out. So that's a huge injury, Darius Slay. Huge injury. As well as Alex Highsmith. But Darius Slay's huge because you're playing the Bengals. You're playing Jamar Chase. You're playing T. Higgins. And when we've been watching the Steelers lately, they've been able to shift Jalen Ramsey to safety, free safety, and they've played a lot more zone. But without Darius Slay, do they trust their cornerbacks? Do they have to move Jalen Ramsey back to corner? Like, how are they going to figure that out? Felt like their pass rush was underwhelming against the Chargers to a certain degree. But I just kind of feel like the Bengals receivers are going to have their way. I felt like the Bengals were able to run the ball against the Steelers last time they played. The Steelers defense has been a bit better, but I'm willing to take 5.5 with a team that I think is going to be within a possession the entire game. And the Steelers offense looks a little broken right now just because Aaron Rodgers looks broken. Aaron Rodgers looks broken, literally. Like old, worn down, worn out. DK is a problem, of course. And the Steelers should be able to run the ball, but the Bengals are coming off a bye. Maybe they figured some things out for their defense, or at least a way to be a little bit better against the Steelers. I mean, Zach Taylor's coaching for his job at this point. These guys are coaching for their jobs. This is a divisional game. There's pride on the line. Joe Burrow could be coming back. It could provide the team a little spark. If the Bengals win this game, they're 4-6. The Steelers are 5-5. I think the Ravens are around 5-5. So they're not too far out of it. If they do win this game and they sweep the Steelers, pretty significant. So there's a lot to play for if you're the Bengals. And like I said, I just kind of feel like the Steelers can't cover those guys. I really don't. I do think the Steelers will win, though. It's in Pittsburgh. They're typically a lot better on defense and just overall at home. They're usually better off of a loss with Mike Tomlin motivating their team. And I do feel like the Bengals defense is so bad that I can't really rely on it to get the pure victory twice against the Steelers. The last time the Steelers played the Bengals, I mean, Aaron Rodgers looked like 2011 Aaron Rodgers, 2014 Aaron Rodgers. He looked unbelievable because the Bengals couldn't get any pressure on him. And that was without Trey Hendrickson, and there's no Trey Hendrickson again. So I think the Bengals will hang around because I think they'll move the ball. But I think at the same time, the Steelers are not going to lose and not going to get swept by a terrible Bengals defense. I just don't see that. Next up, Tampa Bay at Buffalo. Buffalo minus 5.5. The total is 48. I like Tampa with the points. I have to check the injury report. I think the Bills will probably win. It's difficult to go to Buffalo and win a game, period. The only team that's been able to do it in like 2 years is the Patriots this season. Other than that, I think it's just about nobody. Both teams are 6-3. For the Bucks, Hassan Reddick still has not returned. Their edge rusher, Ben Bredesen, their left guard, also did not participate after getting injured against the Patriots. But Bucky Irving limited and Chris Godwin limited. That's pretty big news. If those guys play, I'm definitely all in on the Bucks, like for sure. When I look at the Bills, Christian Benford limited, that's pretty significant. AJ Epinesa should be back for this game at defensive end. Dalton Kincaid probably will be out, who's their best pass catcher at tight end, and a guy that would really probably have success against the Bucks because their weakness is in the middle of the field and their linebacker coverage is pretty weak. Other than that, though, the Bills look pretty healthy. Josh Palmer is one to watch for. He was a full participant, Josh Palmer, and Josh Palmer should be their number one receiver on the perimeter because Coleman is absolutely atrocious. So if I were the Bills, I would be throwing the ball to Josh Palmer. I'm just going to throw that out there. But in terms of the game, I kind of feel like the Bucs are the more talented team. I can't really necessarily say, as much as I love Josh Allen, that he's outplayed Baker this year. I don't think that's been the case. The Bills are not really a man-to-man defense. They play a lot of zone, and I think that benefits the Bucs and Baker to move the football because I think teams that play more man, especially in critical situations, have gotten the best of Baker, whether it be the Patriots or the Lions, if you watch them lately. Because the Bucs don't have Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin has been out, and they don't have separation at receiver, right? Tez Johnson has looked a bit better lately, and Emeka Egbuka looked a lot healthier in this last game against New England than he did against Detroit or anything like that. So he looks better off the bye. Getting Bucky back would be huge for the run game. Getting Bucky back would be huge for the screen game. I think the Bucs will be able to run the ball much better against the Bills than they did against the Patriots. So I think there will be balance there. And like I said, I think Baker will be able to kind of pick apart this defense. And there are concerns about the Bucs offensive line, but they have both their tackles back. Gedeke and also at left tackle, you have or not Deion Dawkins, that's the Bills. Tristan Wirfs, of course. So that was a big thing for their passing game as well, to be able to push the ball down the field. And when you think about the Bills' pass rush, their best pass rushers are their edges, Rousseau, Joey Bosa. So not the interior D-line, who are mostly run stuffers like Daquan Jones, right? So I don't know if the Bills can get that same interior push that Milton Williams and Christian Barmore got that the Patriots got, or that the Lions got with Alim McNeil. I feel like the Bills are a lot more edge-based, and then they play zone. So I just feel like the Bucs will be able to move the ball better than they have in recent games. And then if Bucky comes back, that will really help the run. Defensively, the Bucs are excellent against the run, and the Bills kind of need to run the ball to be successful. We've kind of seen that consistently. They also run a ton of screens, and I do feel like the Bucs have a lot of good guys that can chase down screens really effectively, like Levante David, Antoine Winfield, Tyke Smith, guys like this, who are not afraid to lay the body, not afraid to tackle in space. And I do think that the secondary can hold up on the islands. Like McCullum, Dean, Parrish, these guys have played really exceptional football. They forced Drake May to have his worst completion percentage of the year. There's a reason for that. They're very good in coverage. And I think Todd Bowles will test the Bills because the Bills have struggled at times with blitzes. The Bills, he's going to rotate the dial in terms of coverages. Like, I feel like the Bucs are a good team. They're getting a little healthier. They're coming off a loss. I like Baker as a dog. I like the points here. That being said, I think the Bills probably find a way to win, but it wouldn't shock me if the Bucs won this game outright. It wouldn't at all. The total is 48. It's tough. I want to say over just because Baker and Josh at home, but I don't know. I will say over, though. I will say over. I want to say this game will be like 27-23, something like that. So I think it barely goes over. So I'll lean over just because of the quarterbacks and the potency there. I don't expect bad weather. I'll take the Bucs plus the points, though. Next, 48.5 is the total for 49ers Cardinals. Niners minus 2.5. Marvin Harrison Jr. is now out for this game. That is significant. Because without Marvin Harrison Jr., Cardinals really don't have any perimeter threat to speak of. I mean, Zay Jones, Greg Dortch, Michael Wilson. All they really have is Trey McBride. And so I think that the Niners can lean into being a little bit more aggressive defensively. I also kind of feel like the Niners have struggled more with Kyler Murray than most of their divisional foes. Like, Kyler has given them problems because of his movement, and Jacoby Brissett can't move at all. I actually think that the Niners are a team that benefit playing Jacoby Brissett. I do. I kind of do. Because I do think this will allow Robert Saleh to send more blitzes, and I think that they are well equipped at defending vertical play action most of the time. They do a good job typically of defending that. When you look at the Cardinals, they're also pretty beat up. Mac Wilson, Jonah Williams, Taylor Demerson, Bilal Nichols, Will Johnson, Marvin Harrison, Baron Browning, Kelvin Beachum. These are all guys that did not participate at practice. It's a lot of guys. The Niners haven't faced many teams that are as banged up as them. But the 49ers might actually get some players back in this game, like Ricky Pearsall, who's expected to be full go. Brock Purdy probably won't play. But if Ricky Pearsall comes back, I really like how Max played. I thought he played great against the Rams. And he did beat the Cardinals the first time around. I thought it was one of their weaker offensive performances that I've seen. But I think the Niners offense has gotten much, much better since that game. And if I'm not mistaken, I think in that game they didn't have any of their receivers. Like, I'm going to check it out because I feel like they didn't have anyone. It was 16-15. Holy smokes. I didn't remember it being that low scoring. The Niners scored 10 points in the second half. Mac Jones still had 284 yards. Kyler Murray only had 159. Ricky Pearsall had 8 catches for 117 yards in that game. And I do think he got hurt in that game, if I'm not mistaken. McCaffrey. So they didn't have George Kittle in that game, and they didn't have Juwan Jennings in that game. Ricky Pearsall played, but I don't think he played the entire game. That might have been Jacksonville. That might have been the Jacksonville game. I might be thinking about the Jacksonville game. The Niners also out first down them, outgained them by like 100 yards, so they pretty well dominated the game. And they were the only team to have a turnover. Marvin Harrison did play in that game. The Cardinals did have some injuries, I think, to the secondary, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. But they're very beat up right now. The Niners played Jacoby Brissett last year when he was on the Patriots, and they demolished him. But it's a little bit different. I kind of like, with Marvin Harrison, I kind of was feeling the Cardinals, but something in me right now is saying take the Niners. I feel like with their weapons there, I really like how the offense is humming right now. Like McCaffrey, Kittle looked back. Juwan Jennings looked back. Like, they looked good against the Rams. I know they lost that game, but the defense was terrible. And I just don't think Jacoby Brissett can replicate Matt Stafford. I don't think that Michael Wilson can replicate Devontae Adams. I don't think Greg Dortch can replicate Puka Nacua. Right? The Cardinals' run game, backup running backs running the ball. Like, it's not that threatening. So the Cardinals might look good offensively at times just because the Niners' defense might be that bad. But I think at the same time, Niners defense might look better than they looked last time around because they aren't facing the Rams, who are a well-oiled machine, and Stafford's playing incredible football. So I kind of like the Niners with their almost fully equipped offense. They're still missing Brandon Ayuk, and obviously Brock Purdy. But Mac's been playing well. You've got Kittle, you've got Jennings. You're probably going to get Pearsall back. With the full equipped offense, I feel like with the beat-up Cardinals, they should be able to take advantage here and score enough points to win. So I'm going to take the Niners -2.5 under a field goal. 48.5. I'll take the under. I feel like the Niners and Cardinals typically do go under. It was 16-15 the first time around. And I want to say last year, the same thing could be said. I feel like their 24-23 was one of the games, and then the other game doesn't count. It was backups playing. I wouldn't really say that. So 2 of the last 3 games go under this number. I don't know, man. It's tough. Maybe I should take the over. It's tough, man. Niners games are tough. The defense is untrustworthy. Maybe I should take the over. 48.5. I'll take the over. I think I'm taking too many unders. I'll take the over. Too many injuries for the Cardinals, and I think the Niners are just not a very good defense right now. So we'll take the over and the Niners. Next, 39.5 and Ravens -7.5 is the spread. I like the Ravens at 7.5 now. It is pretty crazy. The Ravens did beat the absolute dog pound into submission last time, but a lot of it did have to do with their special teams and their defense. I'm double checking this spread because I want to say the spread was like 9 not that long ago. So this has been bet down pretty significantly, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 7.5. So yeah, it was like 8.5, 9 like a couple days ago. So it's a pretty big change. In terms of injuries, Bateman, Humphrey, Lamar did not participate. Now, I can't even pick this game if Lamar doesn't play. He wasn't at practice, so it's hard to say. I'm going to assume Lamar is going to play at least somewhat of 75% capacity, okay? If Lamar plays, I'm going to go under 39.5. The game's in Cleveland. Cleveland might be the best defense in football when they play at home. They're right there with the Texans. The Browns are pretty healthy overall. I think the under would be the best bet. Browns, I think, can give the Ravens a tough time in terms of the Browns' defense against the Ravens' offense. They have all the ingredients. A good 4-man pass rush. A really good run defense. Fast linebackers who can chase down Lamar. Denzel Ward who can go one-on-one with Zay Flowers. I think they have the ingredients to go under here. The Ravens' defense has played much, much, much better, and Dylan Gabriel can't move the ball for Cleveland. 7.5. Something tells me I should take Cleveland. Just because it's in Cleveland. It's a divisional game. if Cleveland's going to play in any game this year, well, it might be this game. I think they beat the Ravens last year in Cleveland with Jameis Winston, if I'm not mistaken. Cleveland might be able to run the ball against Baltimore, but I don't love how the passing game fares in this game. I feel like the Ravens are definitely going to dominate that facet. But 7.5, you still got that hook. So this could be like a lower scoring game where the Ravens survive, 23-16, something like that. I'll take Cleveland. I'll take Cleveland. Fundamentals, divisional team, at home, great defense, low scoring game, too many points. Even if I'm not in love with the Browns offense, Lamar injury risk, I'll take the points. Next, Green Bay at the Giants. Green Bay laying 7. Jameis Winston is the starter for the Giants. I am excited for that. 43.5 is the total. Give me the over. It's a Jameis Winston game. Give me the over. I think also the Packers were miserable on offense. Miserable last week. So I think that means they bounce back. The Giants' defense is also really bad. Their run defense is terrible. I think the Packers should be able to run the ball. Their corner position is still pretty beat up, and they can't really cover anyone. And I do think that the Giants are one of those teams that can allow a team like the Packers to hit explosive plays. And maybe their weaknesses won't be exposed to the degree that they were against the Eagles. Now, Paulson Adebo could be back this week. At corner, that would be pretty significant, but Tyler Nubin did not participate. Bobby Okereke at linebacker did not participate. Kayvon Thibodeau did not participate, and Darius Slayton did not participate, so that's pretty big. In terms of the Packers, Nate Hobbs did not participate at corner. Lucas Van Ness did not participate at defensive end, sub-package pass rusher. Matthew Golden, limited, could be back. That would be pretty big for them. They need him, especially with the current state of the offense. I like the over in this game. Jameis is a wild man. He's going to make throws. He's going to test these corners on the outside. And it could be a bounce spot for the coaching staff. They might try some crazy stuff. Brian Daboll fired. They're at home. They're in New York. The vibes are going to be high in terms of Jameis. And, you know, he could throw a pick six. Like that's and then on the other side, you've got the Packers, who I just think are going to be very angry offensively, and I think they're going to be doing what they want on the ground, which will open things up through the air, and I'd expect Jordan Love to have a bounce-back game. So I like the over. The spread is difficult. I want to say lay the points with the Packers. I want to say that their pass rush will get enough stops here to win this game. Their defense has been fantastic lately. So I think that I would lay the points with Green Bay. They need a big win. They need a statement game. As much as I love Jameis, I think I got to lay the points with the Packers. Matt LaFleur, his job is in jeopardy, weirdly enough. At least that's the way people are talking. So I think he's going to come out pissed off. I really do. So I think Packers win. I think Packers cover. I'm going to go over 43.5. 43.5 is also the total in Chargers-Jags. Chargers are favored by 3. Fundamentals would tell me to take the Jags. It's a West Coast team going East Coast. Jacksonville's a weird place to play. Jacksonville isn't necessarily a bad team. Jacksonville can run the ball. And the Chargers have difficulty stopping the run at times. Also, the Chargers are coming off an impressive primetime game. Everyone's going to probably take the Chargers. The Jags lost to the Texans in miserable fashion. Also, the Jags are very beat up at receiver. The question is, Travis Hunter out for the year. Jacoby Myers should have another week of involvement. Brian Thomas was limited. Hopefully he can get back on the field. Parker Washington did not participate. He's been really good for them. He needs to play. Jordan Lewis also didn't participate. He's been very good. Antoine Harrison did not participate, one of their starting tackles. So those are some pretty big injuries. I trust the Chargers a lot more, though. I trust their quarterback a heck of a lot more. Herbert over Lawrence. I feel like the Chargers have ran the ball pretty respectably. I love their weapons. I feel like Herbert can throw all over the secondary. Weak safeties, weak corners. I think Herbert should take advantage of the one-on-ones. And defensively, the Chargers have excellent pass defense. Excellent pass defense. I think they can clamp down on all the screens that Jacksonville likes to run. As long as they can just not get ripped up on the ground, I think they should win this game. I do. I'm going to take the Chargers -3. Fundamentals say Jags. This is probably a stay away from me. It's a little scary. The travel, all that. But I just trust Herbert over Lawrence in a real pick scenario. 43.5, I do like the over. I think both teams are going to score in this game. I think that the Chargers defense is going to look a little bit more off kilter. I think the Steelers made them look a lot better than they are. I think the Chargers are a good defense. Don't get me wrong. And Jacksonville's defense has also been dreadful lately. Like, they allowed 300 yards to Davis Mills, like 300 yards to Geno Smith. Like, this is not good defense. So I'll take the Chargers, and I'll take the over 43.5. That's not enough points. Next, 48.5 is the total for Seattle, Los Angeles. LA -3, game of the week, in my opinion. This is arguably the two best teams in the NFL right now and the NFC right now. The Rams and Seahawks, though, have some interesting injuries. I do not see an injury report. I'm going to try to look one up. Devontae Adams is one of the critical injuries that you have to be aware of. He has an oblique, if I'm not mistaken. I think that he will play, but he could be beat up. I am going to look at the injury report for these teams. But my first inclination, so 21 minutes ago, there was an injury report. Devontae Adams did not practice, and Kobe Turner did not participate with a back. Okay. Kobe Bryant didn't participate. Personal. Okay. That's it. Everyone else, full participant. Ernest Jones, limited. That's big. Josh Jobe, limited. Okay, Josh Jobe could be back after the concussion. That's big. So injuries would make me lean towards Seattle here. But I just think the Rams are better. The Rams are at home. Let's think through the matchup. So Rams have a great pass rush. You can get them on underneath passes. But Seattle is not much of an underneath passing football team. They're all about shot plays and vertical plays down the field. Seattle run game's average. The Rams have an above average run defense. And then on the other side, Stafford's been surgical. Seattle hasn't really played many great teams and come out on top. The only good teams they played are the 49ers and the Bucs, and they lost both those games. That being said, their defense is peaking at the right time. They have a very good front four. Their secondary should be able to match up better than most against this receiving core. But Puka Nacua is pretty much unstoppable. Yeah, guys, I kind of like the Rams. I just feel like I'm still taking Stafford over Sam Darnold in a one-drive scenario, in a last-minute scenario, in a surgicality scenario where I need Darnold to prove to me against a defense like the Rams where they play a lot of zone and they rush four and they get to you with their pass rush. I need to prove that they can be like a dink and dunk offense because it feels like they're mostly run, play action, big shots, JSN down the field. That might work a little bit, but I don't like the way that I've seen teams go after the Rams is quick passes, targeting their corners, targeting their linebackers, right? The Rams have already played the Niners twice this year. And like Kubiak has a worse version of Shanahan's scheme. I look at maybe the under is the play. The defenses are good. The fronts are good. This could be like a 24-21 type game, 24-23. Seattle is not going to lay down defensively. They've got a good defense. I don't think the Rams are running the ball on Seattle. I do think, though, that Stafford can just throw the ball better than Sam in this game. I think the drop back passing game is what favors the Rams. I do. And that's why I like the Rams. So I'll take LA -3. I'll take under 48.5. I respect these defenses. I could be wrong about that one. I don't really want to bet this game. I just want to kind of see how they match up, especially with the injuries to Adams and Kobe Turner. I was kind of on the Rams. Now I'm kind of like, unless this gets to like 2, I don't think I'm going to lay the points with LA in an actual bet. But I will take the Rams here. Next, 44.5 is the total for Chiefs and Broncos. Chiefs -4. Let's check the injury report for this one. I want to take Denver +4, but no Pat Surtain. Josh Simmons is back for the Chiefs at left tackle. Jonah Ellis, J.K. Dobbins did not participate. Alex Singleton didn't participate for Denver. I really hate Bo Nix. 10 days rest for the Broncos, 14 days rest for the Chiefs, full-on bye week. Denver has played the Chiefs very, very well recently. They have beat them 2 out of the last 3 games. And in the last 2 competitive games that didn't have backups, it's 1-1. And the one game that the Chiefs did win, it was off a blocked field goal. So the Sean Payton Broncos have played the Chiefs and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes very, very well. I do think that this is going to be a defensive game. I would take the under. I love the under here. Broncos in Denver are tough to score on, tough to move the ball on, and they still have a devastatingly good pass rush, even if the Chiefs have their full offensive line. Pat Surtain, without him, though, I think that could be the difference in like a close game, like a 2-minute situation where Rashee Rice can get open against somebody that's not named Pat Surtain. You know what I'm saying? So that could be a key difference. Chiefs also have had that extra time to prepare. I would stay away from the spread. I would lean Denver because I think this will be a low-scoring game that will be decided by 3 or 4 points ultimately. But I like the under. Can Denver get a run game going against the Chiefs? Denver should be able to block the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs do not have a great pass rush. That's one thing you can say, right? Like, the Chiefs give quarterbacks time to throw. So can Bo Nix execute when he's given that time? Can Sean Payton come up with some new formula for his offense? But it's really hard to trust Denver with the current state of Bo Nix, current state of their offensive passing game. But this is a divisional matchup, close game. They know each other. I'm going to take the points, and I'm going to definitely take the under. I do like the under quite a bit between Vance Joseph and Spags here. Next, 46.5 is the total for Lions, Eagles. I've mentioned that I like the under in this game as well. And then the Eagles -2.5. I like the Eagles. Now, the one thing I don't like about the Eagles is coming off a short week, playing in a huge game against Green Bay. It was a physical, low-scoring game. I don't like that formula. But the Eagles typically step up against really good teams, and they've beaten every last one of them this year. They beat the Rams, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Packers. They've gone on and beaten these teams, the Bucs. And I think the Eagles' defense is back, and I think there are some fundamentals that scream Eagles. Jalen Carter against a bad interior offensive line of the Lions. The Lions' inconsistency running the ball. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean against Amon-Ra and Jameson. Jared Goff against Vic Fangio and the history there. And then on the other side, the Eagles receivers against a team that likes to play man coverage. Terrion Arnold also injured. Kirby Joseph could come back, but maybe not. The Eagles offensive line, we're going to have to see if Lane Johnson's okay. All right? But I think the Lions are also a little bit more beat up. I thought the Eagles' defense looked a lot more legit with Jalen Phillips and Nolan Smith on the edges. I think it made them a lot more difficult to run the ball against. And Jalen Phillips is a demon. I'm going to take the Eagles. I think they match up well with the Lions. It's in Philly. It's outdoors. Jared Goff outdoors. I like the under, though. I think this is going to be a gritty, old-school football game. I think both teams are going to try and run the ball. I think the Eagles will just hit a couple more explosives because of their receivers. It's going to come down to one-on-one matchups, and I think the Eagles will win more of them. I do. So I'll take the Eagles here, -2.5. I'll take the under. And then we're going to go over 50.5 Cowboys and Raiders probably. Cowboys, I like the Cowboys. -3.5. I like the Cowboys. I like them coming back from the bye with Quinnen Williams, the new New York Jet, from the Jets to the Cowboys. Then you've got Logan Wilson slotting in from the Bengals at linebacker. Overshown returning to the lineup for the first time this season. Their best linebacker. Hooker and Wilson at safety returning, getting reinforcements. I think they're a much more talented team than the Raiders. I think they should crush the Raiders. The Raiders' offensive line is bad. The Raiders have no receivers to take advantage of a bad cornerback group of the Cowboys. Brock Bowers has problems, but Geno is beat up. He can barely walk. And Dallas's D-line is nasty on paper now. Like, Adigi Zua, Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams, Dante Fowler. Like, that's a really good group. And we know Dallas can move the ball and score points, especially in a dome against a bad secondary with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. And they're coming off a loss where they played really sloppy turnovers, all that sort of stuff, fourth down failures. I think Dallas has a coming out party. I think they win this game going away. I think Dallas wins. This might be a best bet. Sounds like it will be. I'll take the over because I think Dallas will score 30, and I think the Raiders will have to keep up. And given the state of the Cowboys defense, it should be better, but I need to see it before I believe it. So give me the over 50.5 in this game. There it is, guys. My picks for week 11. Don't forget to join the fantasy pick'em this week. Don't forget to join the contest. One of you can win $5,000. Gronk, spike the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace.